Connor uses people and befriends them purely out of self-benefit. Whether it's for personal YouTube gain or just desperately needing someone to talk to fill that void he has knowing he doesn't have an honest-to-goodness friend. Everything about him is an incredibly depressing act, from the way he presents himself in his wholehearted videos, to his mannerisms with the people that he talks to, all the way to his questionable opinion of his own fan base. And being a close friend of his for nearly 2 years, having long stretch conversations and opening up to one another, I know exactly the kind of person ConnerTheWaffle is. But to sum it all up and describe him in one sincere, exactly precise word, Conrad Pallman is a liar. Hi everyone. This is going to be an incredibly different video than what I normally do. I'm going to be doing a long-winded collection of truths and uncoverings, sadly, about someone I know. To fully understand everything that's happened, and to get the entire story and reasonings, I recommend sitting through the whole thing, but I'll be providing links forward into sections for easy reference or if you'd just like to get the gist of the situation. Thank you for watching. The channel ConnerTheWaffle is run by a fellow named Conrad Pallman. His videos focus on the feel-good side of game theories that has a large appeal towards younger gamers. With his infectious, cheerful, and ever-optimistic outlook on how great everything could be if everyone just got along. Sadly, after knowing Connor, being a close friend of his for nearly 2 years, seeing his channel grow and accumulate loving fans, with great dread, I can confirm that Connor's just an awful person, with the willingness to not care about even his closest friends. I'm going to be telling you a short story of Connor's and my own friendship with one another, and how it's so tragically filled with lies, his manipulation, and his pure self-interest. How Connor's a borderline compulsive liar, and how he'll go to a great length to drag people along just so he can say that he has a friend, regardless of his treatment towards them. In no way, shape, or form am I aiming to take his subscribers away from him. I won't be talking about his channel or his content at all. I'm strictly going to be talking about him as a person. All this video is simply a sincere warning to anyone who would have any plans to befriend or work with Connor in the future. And also, because I'm not a huge dick, I'm not going to be leaking any conversation logs here or anywhere besides the final collection of messages that he and I exchanged. But if anything, this video is denied by Connor, I promise I will not hesitate to post everything that's been said between us two for undeniable truth. I didn't want to have to make this video in the first place, but this all needs to be said, because I think I may be the only one who caught him out. So, I'm sorry in advance. Story Part 1. I'll begin right where I first met him. October 24th, 2014. I released a video game review about Diddy Kong Racing. One of the comments on the video was from a ConnerTheWaffle, reading as such: "You, my friend, are awesome. I love your style. It's got that PBG and JonTron vibe. I also have a little channel where I talk about games. Maybe you could check it out if you've got the time." Smiley face. And that I did, and I thought his channel was great. At the time, I had maybe 100 subs, and Connor had around 1,000, 2,000. Seeing as we were both just little guys in the YouTube game, we hit each other up and become great friends right off the bat. We'd talk on Facebook all the time, talking about future projects, joking about stuff, and if either of us were feeling down about something, we talked it over. After a while, I'd say we'd become extremely close friends. Shortly after we began talking, we decided that it'd be awesome to do a dual collaboration with each other's YouTube channels. We'd each make our own video featuring one another in them, which was Connor's idea, to help my channel grow with his, especially seeing as we were both such big fans of one another. So we had 2 videos to make. I got a head start on mine right away over our choice of game, Toy Story for SNES. I finally released that video in February 2015, after a good few months of knowing each other, and I thought when it went up, it was a great success. It's honestly still one of my more memorable videos, how our interaction scenes with one another just seem so genuinely fun and hilarious. But then, that's where things began going downhill between us. At this point, Connor had begun shifting to a more game theory style of video as opposed to game reviews. Especially so after the fantastic success when the actual channel, Game Theory, showcased Connor's videos titled "Why Luigi is a Coward" and the true identity of Taboo within one of their own videos. Needless to say, Connor's channel began growing more rapidly and gaining fans at a much faster rate, expectantly due to this period being when game theory's popularity began to skyrocket. I was incredibly excited for him. He was, after all, my friend, so why wouldn't I be proud of him? So, after a few weeks after my Toy Story video hit, I'd bring up to Connor during conversation when we were going to be doing our collaboration for his channel, the one he offered to do with me originally. And this is when I'd begin getting odd excuses from him. He'd constantly reply with these reasons that seemed incredibly insincere. Examples being forgetting about the project altogether and promising to start it after he'd finished with the video after the one he was working on at the moment. Or promising to do the video after he had finished another collaboration with someone else that took priority over me. Seemingly any excuse to just not do the video. I tried to understand for the first while, until it would become clear to me later that it seemed he was just shoving the idea further and further back. So for this duration is when I'd start to get a little skeptical of how Connor was treating our friendship and his own promises. But alas, we were still close friends and would talk nearly every day regardless. Though finally, nearly 3 months later in June 2015, Connor and I would finally work together again after several times bringing it up with him. This time we would work together on a fun little video by the name of The Secret to Fun Video Games Explained. In this video, we talk about how we perceive the themes in video games compared to real life, and how they can lend a hand into shaping us as children when you grow up with the characters, overcome the virtually impossible, and ultimately experience a profound escapism. This was a fantastic video that I was so proud to be a part of, especially because of how excited Connor seemed to share his fanbase with me, as my sub counts would suddenly shoot up. But, of course, sadly, this would end with no explanation. About a month later in July, I wanted to go back and watch the collaboration video again. I'd go to Connor's channel to find it, and there just wasn't any sign of it. Curious, I went to my beep video and forwarded to the end to use the link to go straight to the page because I had put it at the end of my last video. But the video couldn't be found. For some reason, it was just gone. I couldn't wrap my head around why it had mysteriously vanished. I just didn't understand why this would happen, especially without him even trying to tell me at all. Feeling pretty betrayed, I'd stop talking to him and wait for him to approach me, wondering when he would finally just tell me what happened. Roughly a few weeks after that, in August, he'd approach me and try to apologize for taking the video down. He'd claim that he took the video down because it was his third strike on music for his videos, and that he was really sorry for not being able to tell me earlier for some reason. But in the back of my mind, I thought that for such a valid and real reason like that, one where his channel would actually be in jeopardy, there would be absolutely no reason for him to shadily take the video down, especially without even mentioning it to me, considering how often we spoke. Honestly, at this point, I didn't know what to think. I was happy that he tried to reach out to me and try to fix the problems and all, but if he just got a strike on his music for the video, there'd be very little reason to not try to correct the video's music and simply re-upload it. An incredibly easy fix, sidestepped for seemingly no reason at all. My best guess is he just didn't want to do it, so I guess that makes perfect sense. At this juncture, I thanked him for apologizing, we made up, and he'd even promised for future work together. But I knew at this time to not chase and bother him around anymore for holding his word, especially for all the hassle of just trying to get him going on the work. So our friendship just sort of faded out from there shortly after my decision. At this point is when I'd flat up given up on Connor. If I had to go through all these lengths to get him to do something he said he'd do, only to be delayed time after time again, constantly with lame reasonings, it just wasn't worth it to try and make him keep his word. I just couldn't figure him out, so I decided it'd be best to just leave it all alone. Story Part 2. January 2016. Into the new year, 5 months after the apology, is when I'd begin doing some streams casually for the fun of it. During one of these streams, Connor pops in and comments a few times, to which I very awkwardly respond during the stream. After the small event, I'd check my Skype messages and notice his attempts to come into contact with me once again, this time with a good 3 to 4 paragraph apology asking me to forgive him once again for his utter lack of commitment to what he promised for so long. It seemed really sincere at the time, so when he offered, once again, to do 2 collaboration videos, one on each channel, I accepted his apology, figuring that there was no way he'd do the exact same thing again. And of course, like the idiot who wanted to see the good in him and forgive him, I am eventually betrayed yet again by Connor. Only this time it's a much more obvious, depressingly pathetic mess. Here's how. About a couple months after the reunion, with lots of discussion, Connor and I decided again on what kind of videos we'd do. So we started with mine, Super Paper Mario. Connor told me that he had previously played these games before and actually had some positive opinions about the game, this one in particular. So that would be my video. After weeks once again trying to urge and beckon Connor to write up his share of the script in instant messages, there was just a point where I had already finished 95% of the video and was just waiting on his section of the script, have me look at it, fix it up a little, and make it work with what I already had, and send back the script to him for the voiceovers. Nothing fancy at all. I'd edit the whole thing. He just needed to talk about what made Super Paper Mario a fun game. A game that he'd claimed to have played. So after a good bit of waiting, I eventually just needed to give him a little push to give me what he had so far, because he had been working on his addition to the script for weeks now. So I finally just asked him what he had so far, and for him to send it to me. Now, there was a moment where I would literally sit here staring at the screen with a little message saying that he was typing after I asked him to send what he had, then watching him send to me this incredibly sad excuse for a contribution. I just couldn't believe my eyes. This minuscule collection of jot note sentences that you'd find on the back of a game case or a generic overview of the game. All of this is what he wanted to put in my video. This was his contribution that I had been waiting weeks for. Some of what he had planned on saying in the video wasn't even true about Super Paper Mario at all. He seriously did not give a fuck about what he gave me. He did not play the game at all, clearly. His weeks of so-called work amounted to a snap decision to do a search of the game and put what he found in the Google front page into his own words. That's what I had been waiting on for so long. I was appalled. I didn't even know what to do with it. I'm not joking when I say I had to stop what I was doing, lean forward with my head in my hands, and contemplate why this had happened. Anyone who's played Super Paper Mario, heck, anyone with half a brain cell would know that what he wanted to say for my video, his contribution, was so nothing. He did not care at all. He was the one who wanted to do all of this. Everything. His idea. But that's what I got from him. Nothing. So what else could I do at that point? I did my best to make it work and not make him look so terribly bad, and I published the video. That video is actually still out if you want to go check it out. And because now that you know what happened during the creation of the video, looking at his small blurb of input in the middle of the video just might make you sad. But I'm a trooper, and I managed to put out that video anyway, which finally leads to the straw that broke the camel's back. His share of the collaboration. At the time after my video came out, Connor and I were still on pretty good talking terms. We'd continue to chat about the video that we were going to do for his channel. What was decided on was terrible fan-made Mario games. What my part in the video was going to be was a fan game based on Super Mario Kart, titled Supra Mario Kart. So I wrote up my share of the script, looking to be a good 2 to 3 minutes of content that I'd gladly put on my own channel, though tuned for his because I wanted everything to mesh correctly the first time. Story part 3. Now, as soon as I finished up that script for the collaboration, I'd send a Google document link straight to Connor and wait for a response from him. The next day, I'm told that he read and loved the script, and that he was so excited to send it back to me with the revisions once he was done. Great! Finally something gets done. In a timely manner too, which was unexpected. Excitedly, I also send that same document link to a good friend to see what they thought of what I wrote. But after I sent the link and my friend clicked on it, they tell me that they needed me to grant them access to view it. Which actually got me thinking, If my friend wasn't able to view the document without permission, then how did Connor read and love it? Connor didn't ask for permission to view it. I didn't get any emails for Connor's confirmation to view the document. That doesn't make any sense. I realize that I manually need to go into my email and confirm access to view any and all of my Google documents. There's no way Connor even got into that file, let alone love it. I stumbled into him lying directly to me. Why would he just straight up lie like that? So I'd ask him about it, telling him that access was required to read the document, and wondered how he saw it, to which he'd simply reply that he was just able to see it. He just clicked on it and it magically worked for him. So I had it. I couldn't take it anymore. I'd suspected up to this point that he had just been leading me on all this time for this really sad reason, which I'll get to in a bit. But he'd obviously been lying to me constantly, to which I turned a blind eye to while I put all the hard work into the collaborations. Twice. 2 videos on my channel were collaboration videos, where there's 0 on his. Both times of him just not caring at all. So, all I could do was just ask him bluntly why he was doing all of this. He'd originally reply with, "What do you mean?" pretending to not understand my question, but a good few moments without a response would give him the time to fully grasp the weight of my simple question. But, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm going to be showing these final conversation logs because it's almost just too unreal. Everything here is just this mishmash of probably the most insincere unloading of reasons why he just couldn't do a simple collaboration video with me. And, of course, no problem with doing his usual stuff. Not at all. But as soon as he's asked to help for the second time to fulfill his end of the deal that he proposed to me, I'm in the position to be once again brushed to the side, lied to. And to be quite honest, all of the things he said and the reasons as to why he lied to me in the first place would have been totally viable. I understand entirely that life seriously can get in the way of how you want to do things. Anything could pop up and make you not focus. That's understandable. It's just the way that he uses everything at once. Jot note form, spilling out as many reasons as he can into one sentence, trying so incredibly hard to get that sympathy card from me. And I wholeheartedly admit, he's amazing at doing this. No doubt that as a response to this video, if he sees it, either he'll be addressing his many fans or to me directly, trying to get me to take this video down. All because, simply, I have the proof of how I know Connor's just a lying, manipulative person. How could anyone treat someone you'd call a friend so harshly? Tricking me into being someone he can talk to, leading me on with his promises, lying to me so that he doesn't actually have to help my channel. Which I need to reiterate, everything was his idea. Now, the ultimatum. So, being at the point of no return, I made Connor a final offer between us. I issued him an ultimatum. I was so finished with him and everything that he did to me that I felt that an ultimatum was just exactly what I needed to do. So I sent him a giant message, recapping on everything that's happened between us, everything he's done, and topped it off with a last deal. A chance to help him follow through with doing exactly what he wanted to do in the first place, to give me a hand. And the deal was exactly this. I told him that by the end of the month, a full 30 days, I'd want the collaboration video to go up on his channel and for it to actually stay there. Connor would usually put out 2 to 4 videos a month, meaning given the ample amount of time, he'd for sure get whatever he was working on at the time and be able to put it out before even having to begin working on our video. So I was incredibly generous in this regard. Additionally, I'd ask him to make a short 2-minute video simply to highlight my channel. He had been very vocal about loving my work and wanting to lend my channel a hand for a good 1.5 years, so I couldn't see any reason as to why he wouldn't jump on the opportunity to just follow through and finally do it. These would both be incredibly easy videos to create, and maybe even going as far to make him look better by highlighting a seemingly good friend on his own channel. So these were my two demands. All he had to do was just lay in the bed that he made and be done with it. However, if he wanted to, once again, disregard me in every way, I made it incredibly clear that I would go public with everything, letting anyone who would watch know just what kind of person he was. Excuses. In our final exchanges, Connor would say a few things to try to weasel his way out of this horrible circumstance that I put him under due to his behavior with me. So, while I am showing these final logs here, I'm going to refer to key points and give a final bit of background context onto each one individually. 1. Self-pity and blame. Immediately after sending him the ultimatum message, he'd respond with how awful he is, really going for the "I know I'm awful, I need to get better" look. Right away, he's trying to aim for that pity vote, seeing if he can wiggle out of the situation he put himself in before it even began. 2. He's above this. When I try to reiterate that he can fix his problems that he had, he continues to decline the offer, saying that if he adheres to my request, it would make him a coward, only caring about his self-image. So here, he had a morality trip, it seems. But he's perfectly fine with being deceitful to me all along, right? Proudly lying to me with, evidently, absolutely no intention to actually commit to what he said. I push him to follow through on his promises, and he continues to look for any reason to not commit to his word to someone who is, and I quote, close friends with him. That makes sense. That doesn't make sense. It's a little contradictory. 3. Blaming me for not being able to cooperate. If only we had a more civil conversation, we could work it out. Well, we've been pretty civil to each other for the last 2 years, and he still has absolutely nothing to show for it. Numerous times I've tried to make this all happen. Every time he's excused with a later on excuse, or I'll get right to it. He's had plenty of time thus far to get around to it, but he just hasn't. This is, yet again, another short-term excuse attempt, and I'm incredibly numb to it at this point. This wouldn't have worked at all. 4. Blackmail synonym. Obviously, since he's defensive, he's gonna want to try to aim to put it back on me by labeling my ultimatum as blackmail. Because he's quite obviously the good guy here. Everything he's done this far was for everyone's benefit. But here's the difference between my ultimatum with him and what he tried to relabel it as: blackmail. What I offered to him was a last declaration of terms to be upheld. If they weren't agreed upon, it would result in fallout and myself creating a video exposing exactly the things he did to me. An ultimatum. However, blackmail, in its literal sense, would be if I came to him with unjustified threats, demanding money or for him to inflict loss upon himself. Not obliging to this would have me render, for instance, false information, or to attack him, or to even bring harm to him in any way. You can see that there's a bit of a fine line here, but what was offered to him from me was an incredibly civil choice, considering what the terms were especially. Instead of focusing on deep-seated threats, I made civil requests. And this is all just a really pathetic last-ditch effort for him to try to pin it on me as the type of person who would go out of their way to do something so horrible and unprovoked. 5. Bargaining. Here, he tried to explain to me that if I hadn't proposed the situation of showing everyone his awful truth, he would have loved to make the videos if it was simply talked over. But Connor, not wanting to have a video with me in it is the reason we're here in the first place. You wouldn't have easily made the videos, because if you would have, both works would be up proudly on your channel at this very moment. 6. Should have asked for more for your video. Saying this to me was a bit of a spit to the face. Really, Connor? You didn't realize that what you had quickly wrote up in 30 seconds, your shamblings of a copy and pasted GameFAQs description for Super Paper Mario didn't go across well in the video. I should have asked for more? Well, it's funny because seeing what weeks of work trying to get that much out of you ended up being, I wasn't prepared to wait another couple months for a simple opinion from you. Let alone the fact that you had lied clearly about playing the game altogether. Nice try. 7. I have a job. Quite possibly the worst one so far. Yes, it's very important that you assure that your content is up to snuff and to get it out in a timely manner for your job to sustain a viable amount of income. But then on a personal moral level, you may want to delete videos either based on incorrect facts, change an opinion, or perhaps it will impact you negatively in the future. But claiming that it was your job to remove a video you promised to create with a close friend for 6 months, only to remove it as if it never happened at all without any attempt to bring it to my knowledge, is not a real reason. Claiming that it was your job to promise to make it up to me, only to have me do all the work on my end, and for yourself to commit so half-assedly to what you said you'd do and still not do your own work, is not a real reason. Claiming it was your job to have finally read my script offer, even going as far to say that you loved it and you can't wait to work on it, only to be caught red-handed and blurting out every reason you can think of off the top of your head, regardless of its weight, or quite honestly, the amount of truth behind it, is not a real reason. By the way, as a quick side note, how long would I have waited thinking that you read it and that you were working on it all along? Would I ever have been told? Would Connor have just waited until I didn't care anymore just to continue going on like happy friends? No, I don't think I would be. He has the exact same opinion of me as he does his fan base, honestly. And this leads to the wrap-up and final statement. Connor, you can say sorry all you like with the prettiest reasons as to why you just can't do something to help someone after going out of your way promising to do so. But you really bit it hard when you thought I just wouldn't care. I wasn't someone desperately trying to get a hold of a big YouTuber and become fucking YouTube famous. I was a close friend of yours, knowing you since just about when you began making these videos. But promise after promise, excuse after excuse, just wore me down. I'm a really nice, happy person, but how you treated me was absolutely garbage. And it says a great deal about the kind of person that you are deep down. I think the cherry on the cake is that I never asked to be on your channel to begin with. You've offered both times. You are just a sad, lonely person who has a knack for getting people to believe in you and to get people on your side. I'm sorry that you're you. Sincerely from the bottom of my heart. And to be 100% completely honest, I might have not even gone through with this video knowing that it was just something between Connor and myself. Even to me, with my taste, I know that this whole video can be perceived as whiny, at the very least to some extent. I can't and won't present any proof of this out of the loyalty to the people I talk to and communicate on a friendly basis, but I am for certain that I am not the only person that Connor's dragged along with his promises of collaboration. Connor uses people and befriends them purely out of self-benefit, whether it's for personal YouTube gain or just desperately needing someone to talk to fill that void he has knowing he doesn't have an honest-to-goodness friend. Everything about him is an incredibly depressing act, from the way he presents himself in his wholehearted videos, to his mannerisms with the people that he talks to, all the way to his questionable opinion of his own fan base. And being a close friend of his for nearly 2 years, having long stretch conversations and opening up to one another, I know exactly the kind of person ConnerTheWaffle is. But to sum it all up and describe him in one sincere, exactly precise word, Conrad Pallman is a liar. I regretfully warn every single person who will ever come into contact with him, and even the people in his immediate life, to be completely aware of the kind of person that he is. Once again, I'm sorry that I needed to make this video, but honestly, this has just been eating me up from the inside for such a long time, to the point where I actually get sad and not want to do it altogether. To the people who are subscribed to me, thank you for sticking with me. I'm gonna get back to my stuff right away, but if anyone who knows Connor watched all the way through, I hope that this video gave you some insight into your potential relationship with him, and to what he's told you / will tell you. Additionally, if you're a diehard ConnerTheWaffle fan who buys into the "I'll always be there for you" gimmick he's running nowadays, I'm especially sorry. I'm just sorry. Have a good day, everyone. So this segment here is the too long didn't watch. If you didn't have enough time to listen through the whole thing, here's just a quick run through of everything that I talk about in the video. I do recommend sitting through and watching the whole thing, but anyway, here's the too long didn't watch. Connor and I are at roughly the same amount of subs. He promotes his channel on mine. We become really close friends. We plan 2 collaboration videos, one on each of our channels. My video goes up on my channel. The channel Game Theory notices Connor's game theory videos and his subs shoot up. I try to convince Connor for months to finally do the video that he said he would do and put it up on his channel. After a while, the video finally does go up on his channel. Shortly after that, he takes the video down without my knowledge. Fallout between us. He apologizes to me in the new year. Connor suggests another 2 collaboration videos, once again one on each channel. Connor does a really quick shitty job with his bits in my video. I put the video up anyway. I try sending the script for Connor's video to him through a Google document. He claims to have read and loved the script, even though the link didn't work at all. I finally get fed up with Connor and the 2 years of his bullshit and issue him an ultimatum. He denies the ultimatum. This video goes up.